Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jada Bailey, the Mindful Mage. And if you saw my video last week where I filled you in on where I currently am in my spiritual journey, then you know that I am currently in love with, obsessed with all things divine feminine. And I was just talking to my best friend about this yesterday while we were getting pedicures. I was telling her what I personally believe as far as the goddess is concerned. And I believe that the goddess is one true source of power. I know that looks like two. One true source of power. And she has emerged over the eons, showing herself in different names and faces, different myths, under different pantheons. And each aspect of the goddess, once born, once given life, becomes a goddess in her own right. Like Lilith, Hecate, Oya, Freya, Brigid, and so on and so forth. To help you discover which goddess you'd like to work with, because it can be difficult, and find which goddess you feel like you're falling in love with, which one embodies you or calls to you the most, I am going to tell, maybe not each of their stories, because there are thousands of them, but some of my favorites and some of the ones that I also like to work with here and there outside of Lilith. Now getting back to my girl, the Dark Mother herself, the one and only Lilith, Queen of Duality. Today we're going to get into her story, and toward the end I'm going to give you an incantation for you to call to her, or a prayer, an invocation, whatever you like to call it, so that you can call to her. I'll provide you with a tea recipe that you can drink before bed so that you can dream of her and maybe commune with her in your dreams. Some signs and signals to look out for to know if she's calling to you or if maybe you should work with her as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first wife of Adam, the Demoness, the Dark Mother God, an ancient goddess whose name has been revered and feared for eons, for good reason. Origins are shrouded in the time before creation, and though there are many myths in her name, in her face, in her image, one thing is clear: she is a balancing force, a counter force, a goddess equal but opposite to God's goodness and his maleness. It's certainly no coincidence that most of the oldest written word about Lilith is written by men to warn other men about her power and her how do you say, seductive prowess, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm getting at. So let me take you deep into the darkness before dawn, before the time of creation. Her earliest known appearance is in the Epic of Gilgamesh, in which Lilith, called the Maid of Desolation, has built her abode in Inanna's Hulupu tree. This rooted her myth in Mesopotamian soil, marking her as both ancient and elemental. Across cultures from Sumerian, Babylonian, and Assyrian to Canaanite, Persian, Hebrew, Arabic, and even Teutonic lore, Lilith surfaces again and again, and it's pretty clear she's a force to be reckoned with. Her presence, or rather her name, makes a solitary appearance in the Bible in Isaiah 34:14, where the Hebrew word Lilith refers ambiguously to a wilderness spirit. But centuries later, in medieval Jewish folklore, she transforms into Adam's first wife, created from the same earth, equal to him, and yet refusing subservience. When Adam demands she submit, she leaves the Garden of Eden rather than bowing to her husband. That version comes to us from the alphabet of Ben Shirah, 8th to 10th century CE, where Lilith's refusal to lie beneath Adam symbolizes her demand for equality. In the 13th century Kabbalistic text, the Zohar, also known as the Book of Splendor, Lilith is invoked mainly to warn men of her power and seductive danger. These writings were obviously, and of course, by men and for men. Because if we haven't noticed the theme here over the centuries, it's men demonizing women to protect other men from women and strip women of their power. The Zohar also contains a potent metaphor. God made two great lights, the sun and the moon, ascended together in equal dignity. But when the moon felt mortified beside the sun, God commanded her to diminish, leaving dominion of the day to the sun and the night to the diminished moon. This isn't just celestial drama. It's a mythic echo of Lilith's story. Equality demanded, then suppressed. The message is clear. Lilith is that equal yet suppressed force in the night, stripped of authority yet refusing to disappear. In the Renaissance and Romantic period, artists began to reclaim Lilith visually. Michelangelo imagined her as a half-woman, half-serpent entwined around the tree of knowledge, and later painters like Dante Gabriel Rossetti portrayed her as a powerful femme fatale. For centuries, Lilith was demonized. In the Zohar, she roams the night, tempting men, breeding evil spirits, even conceiving disease, an epitome of seduction and danger. But the reinterpretation begins in modern feminism. Judith Plaskow's seminal 1972 essay, The Coming of Lilith, reframed her not as a threat, but as an emblem of autonomy, punished for refusing submission. Today, Lilith stands for equality, rebellion, and self-possession. So why is Lilith rising again? Why in 2025 does it appear that so many women resonate with her name and her story? Astrology plays a role, and psychologically, an even bigger role is being played here. In astrology, Black Moon Lilith, a symbolic point in the birth chart, represents our untamed, suppressed desires, the part society taught us to hide. It highlights where we refuse to conform, as we should. And psychologically, Lilith embodies autonomy, defiance, and a disruptive voice, especially for women historically silenced. She holds a space for rage, sensuality, and strength, which is also always trying to be dimmed down by men, of course, because who else? Overarching villain here. So why are women so drawn to her right now? It's because we're tired. We're tired of being silenced. We're tired of being told that our worth lies in our obedience. Lilith stood the hell up for all of us. She refused to be subservient. She refused to be second. And I think we see that rebellion in her as a reflection of ourselves. If both men and women were created in God's image, how is it that it's only the male that we acknowledge, the male that we worship, the male that we serve? There's a significant spiritual message in Lilith's story. If you're wanting to set out offerings for Lilith on your altar before calling to her, dark wine, figs, black candles, and rose petals, especially red roses or, black roses if you can get them, would all be really good options, a really good place to start. I like to make an herbal tea of mugwort and rose petals. Usually I'll just add that to like my chamomile tea as I'm brewing. And that will often help me with invoking dreams of Lilith or, trying to commune with her, speak with her in a dream state. I would recommend you try it. If you feel called to work with her, I definitely say start with a simple offering like the rose petals, the wine on your altar. maybe a dream request or a whispered prayer. Don't rush this. Make sure you keep your ears open, your mind, your heart, keep your eyes open, and listen, really listen for a response. Be on the lookout for signs and symbols like keys, lions, owls, snakes, even fire. That would also be a sign. These would all be signs to look out for if she is trying to connect with you or accepting your offer to connect with her. And please always, always, always approach with respect. You do not command any goddess. You approach with respect, you invite, you honor, and you walk beside them. If you've watched the video all the way through thus far and have really felt pulled or called to work with Lilith, or have even felt called to work with her in the past, I'm going to give you a pretty powerful incantation. Now, the way I use this is I do my whole spiritual protection ritual. So I will cast a circle, I'll smudge, I'll meditate, I'll put offerings out at my altar, because of course I will be doing this in front of my altar. And then when I'm ready, I will repeat this incantation 3 times. Lilith, firstborn of power, unbound by shame, untamed by fear, ancient mother of night's hour, rise beside me, draw me near. I claim my voice, I breach the chain, in your freedom I remain. Repeat that 3 times, and you can sit and you can wait for a message like the flickering of your candlelight. I also like to do a bit of divination with tarot, or if you have like a pendulum, that works too. Whatever you feel like doing in that moment before you thank the goddess for her presence, and then close out your circle and go on about your day. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know in the comments which goddesses you've been working with, which ones, if you're not working with any, which ones you've really started to feel called to, curious about. I'm definitely looking forward to making more videos about the goddesses in the future, so I hope you stay tuned for those. As always, peace and blessings to you all. I love you very much. Bye-bye.